Hey everyone, today I want to show you some of my favorite stock progressions for Midwest Emo and Math Rock. So, as I said, these are some of my favorite progressions, but they're also pretty common. You hear them in quite a few songs. If you're looking for a place to start with this style, then this is a good spot. Our first progression is a 4-5-6-3 idea, which I call the Yvette Young Ichika / J-pop progression, though it's a pretty contemporary sound as a whole. For example, if we were in B major, 4-5-6-3 would be something like E major, F sharp, dominant 7, G sharp minor 9, D sharp minor 7. Once again, do something like E major 9, F sharp dominant 9, G sharp minor 9, D sharp minor 7. That being said, you can try all kinds of different voicings and you'll get some different aesthetics. You can also try them on different parts of the guitar. So again, this is the same progression, just some different shapes. If I tried it with like bar chords, we would have something like E. We'd have something like that, which is a totally different sound, but with that kind of same emotional underpinning. Now, for all of these progressions, they also work great as bass lines. So if you just use the 4-5-6-3 bass motion in a riff, you'll get a riff with a similar sentiment to the 4-5-6-3 progression. So here's an example riff that I wrote for a student once for some private lessons. So for each phrase in the line here, we have a bass note, which is representing our harmony. Our first phrase starts with the open E, which is our 4 chord, basically. Then our next phrase goes to 5. Then we have 6. And then our 3. Another example of this type of idea would be in a song like Always Focused by Tiny Moving Parts. So a lot of these emo songs basically start on 4 and either climb up the scale or climb down the scale. So Always Focused has a very similar progression. It goes 4, 6, 5. So I'm playing in standard tuning right now, and this was definitely not meant to be played, never meant to be played in this, but here's what that sounds like. Okay, so yeah, a little bit unusual sounding in standard, but again, if we take a look at the bass line, we've got 4, and then as it moves on, we've got our 6 here, and then our 5. So that little bass line there is giving us that great sound. Another example of this kind of thing, or this kind of progression, I should say, a 4 chord progression sort of going up, is Never Meant by American Football. So if you just look at the first riff of the song, again, can't really play it because I'm in standard, but we can kind of approximate that sound. That one goes 4, 5, 6, 5. So if you can imagine the intro section where both guitars kind of come in at the same time, basically the first guitar part is sort of playing something equivalent to just like the tonic triad. So if I just do a little arpeggio like this, we can pretend this is the noodly line. So if I add a 4-5-6-5 kind of bass motion to this, we'll get something that actually sounds a lot like Never Meant. So even though I don't have both parts, if we just combine that idea of the kind of tonic triad on top and then adding in sort of the right bass motion there with that 4-5-6-5 type progression, we get something that sounds very Never Meant-y and very emo. For our next set of progressions, again, we're going to work with the 4 chord, but I want to show you some ideas that basically start on 4, and instead of going all the way up, they go down. So these are some ideas that I personally like to do, and I use quite a lot in my songs. So one idea would be just something like 4, 3, 2, 3. So that's a pretty common sound for me. If you've seen my videos, I'm always doing something like that. Another idea that I would often do is something like 4 and then 2. So a sound like that, where you just basically are playing around with the subdominant chords of your key. Another variation on that is something like 4 and then 2 and then like a 6 chord or something like that. That also sounds really nice. So with all of these progressions as well, a lot of it is where you start, and these little variations are totally fine to try. Those are some good ways to kind of help you get some new sounds. So again, these are just simple ideas kind of going 4, 3, 2, 3, or 4, and 2, and just kind of working around those chords. Now, the next progression is more of a minor idea. So this one, if you're thinking about it relative to a major key, goes 6, 1, 4, 5. And I call this the explosions in the sky type post-rock progression. So I really love this one. It's got a really nice sort of brooding sound. If I just play it for you with some basic shell voicings, you really get an idea of what this progression is like. So as you can see, sounds really nice, really intense sound, especially if you play it as a waltz. If we try it with some different voicings, that can also sound really cool. Like, so that little idea there, I think makes it sound really cool if we're trying some just like different style shapes there. So again, with all of these, you can get pretty creative with what kind of shapes you want to use and what parts of the guitar you want to arrange it on. Really, it's really up to you. You're just taking that progression and running with it. Now, the next set of ideas are ideas starting on the tonic or the 1 chord. And just like I said before, a lot of these emo progressions are just kind of either going down the scale or up the scale. So this is no exception. We've got some progressions that basically start on 1. The first one I call the optimistic allergy chord progression. This one basically just goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm the key of E, that's like an E major chord, F sharp minor 7, G sharp minor 7, and then like A major 9, for example. So if I play that, it's got that really nice uplifting sound. Now, a really common progression that I really enjoy and I think sounds really nice is to go 1, 2, and then 4. So for example, if we were in the key of E again, we'd have 1, 2, 4. So it's kind of like a more simplified version of the other thing I just played. And I can show you guys some examples of songs that use this sound. So if we look at the song Skeleton Key by Origami Angel, there's a really nice sort of tapping section about a minute into the song. And it is a progression that goes 1, 2, 4 in the key of B flat major. So if I just sort of play you the progression, it goes like B flat sus 2, and then it goes B flat major 7, and then it goes C minor 11, and then like E flat add 9. So once again, you got your 1, then your 1 is a major 7 chord, and then you got your 2, minor 11, and then you got your 4 as an add 9. So that one's really cool because it's doing 1, 2, 4, and it just has little variations on the voicings in order to make it sound more interesting. So one last example is from the intro riff to the song Look Down by Algernon Cadwallader. I just looked at this the other day and was, I guess, not too surprised to see that the intro riff is another 1, 2, 4 type progression. So the basic idea is something like this. You got... Now, just kind of coming up with some sort of like ad hoc version of this, like... Whoops. So that's just kind of like a pretend version. I don't actually know how to play it, but I can tell you for sure that that's the bass line. Then it goes like... and then it goes down to like it drops an octave to something like, I guess, sure, we can drop to that, right? So that's sort of our bass line there is 1, 2, 4 going up and then 1, 2, 4 going down. So, I mean, both of those songs are really great and utilize that progression. So yeah, I mean, I hope this video helped and gave you guys some great stock Midwest Emo chord progressions to play with. Again, experiment with that simple movement going up the scale and down the scale, and you're bound to get some really nice emotive sounds. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.